So I've been told when I fold my arms and introduce my videos like this, people get scared. People think I need to be more relaxed, that I need to sit down. I'm not sitting down for these videos. I mean, when I sit down, I look hella fat. I'm going to stand up. Stand up, fold my arms, wave my arms about, hold a book if I want. By the way, I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today, we will be reviewing Dragons of Winter Night, book number 2 in the Dragonlance Chronicles. Man, I remember when these books came out when I was a kid. I worshipped these books. If you watched my review of Dragons of Autumn Twilight, you probably saw how much I loved these books, how much they meant to me as a kid. Well, they just did. And then, I bought this one, and then I waited 6 months for this one to come out, and it came out, and I'm telling you, I read through it. All of my favorite characters were in the book. Tanis, Coromone, Raceland, Riverwind, Goldmoon, Lorana, Flint Fireforge, Tasselhoff Burrfoot, Kitiara. There were dark elves. Tika Wayland, the innkeeper, joined the adventure party. And man, I was thrilled to get onto another Dungeons and Dragons type adventure with my crew of dudes led by Tanis Half-Elven. I loved these people. These people, they were my friends. We know how it is to get together a Dungeons and Dragons group and go on a Dungeons and Dragons adventure and just kick some ass. And that's what these guys were doing. That's the basis of these Dragonlance novels. A group of adventurers off to save the world, right? I gotta tell you right up front in this review, what Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman did in Dragons of Winter Night towards the end, minor spoiler warning here, folks. Because I'm telling you, when these books came out, fantasy was still sort of in its infancy, in its learning years. People were still experimenting with fantasy storytelling, and we did not have George R.R. Martin and grimdark and all this stuff where all the characters always die. Bloody, gruesome deaths. Most of the fantasy we were getting at the time had very happy endings where all the heroes lived. Once in a while, and they'd get in danger, like Han Solo would get frozen in carbonite. But we all knew that he wasn't really dead, that he would come back, right? That's the way fantasy adventure stories were back then. Well, at the end of Dragons of Winter Night, oh my gosh, our adventure party was devastated. One of our major friends and adventurers ends up getting killed, getting betrayed and killed at the end of this book. And it was traumatizing for the characters, and it was traumatizing for young readers like me who had not experienced a major death of a major favorite character in a fantasy novel before. It was like an iconic moment. I just was like floored. I was like, what has happened to my world? One of my favorite adventurers, one of my friends and family has been killed, dead, and all the other characters are so sad, and I'm so sad, and everyone feels betrayed, and I feel betrayed, and the person that killed them, the person that betrayed and killed them, I was like, oh, because it happens right at the end of the book, and you're like, oh, we need revenge, we need to seek revenge. It was just one of the iconic, groundbreaking moments in fantasy literature, right there in Dragons of Winter Night. Yeah, I don't give spoilers in my reviews. That's kind of a spoiler. I didn't tell you which character bites the dust, but it is a bit of a spoiler. And like I said, man, I love these books. That's about all I'm going to get into. And just imagine, basically, if you're a fantasy fan and you haven't read these yet, I'm imagining that 80% of the people watching this review have probably already read this series, so you know what I'm talking about. And, in the comments below, see if that character's death had an effect on you. Mention it. Let's discuss it. Let's discuss Dragonlance as a whole. I loved these books. Dragons of Winter Night, continuation of our quest with the characters we love, with the tragic death of one of them at the end. Oh my gosh. As a kid, like I said, crazy, crazy stuff. I love these Larry Elmore covers. In fact, I was so into these books as a kid that I collected I got the Art of the Dragonlance Saga book that had all the Keith Parkinson, Jeff Easley, Larry Elmore paintings. You know, all these great paintings that it had. I used to just stare at these paintings. I used to just draw them, trace them, whatever I could. I loved these paintings. I loved this book. I would reread and reread and reread this series. Like I said, when I was a kid, let's just give this a rating right now. When I was a kid, I would have given all these a straight 10. I would have given them a 10. They were that important. They were that cool to me as a kid. Keep in mind, these are written on like a Harry Potter type level, PG. I mean, it is not rated R stuff. This is PG stuff. You can read these to your kids and feel safe that you're reading them a pretty PG rated fantasy story. Much like Harry Potter. So as a kid, these were 10s in my books. These, every single one of them was a 10, 10, 10. 10 out of 10, all of them. You know, I've reread them since as an adult, you know, and my tastes have changed, and I'm not so much into the PG-rated fantasy young adult stuff anymore, which I do consider these to be kind of young adult. So, you know, my tastes have changed. I would probably give them about 7s out of 10s right now, just based off of my taste changing as an adult, but that's it. I still worship these books as being just cornerstones of my fantasy reading experience as a kid. And that's very important. You know, the stuff that you love as a kid, keep it around. Don't destroy it. Don't give it away to used bookstores. Keep it. If it meant something to you as a kid, keep it around, because trust me, as an adult, you are going to wish you had it back if you got rid of it. So just keep these, reread them from time to time, appreciate them for how much you loved them as a child, even if you've moved on and leveled up in your reading experience. That being said, 7 out of 10 for these as an adult, that still ain't bad. That still ain't bad. I still love reading about Sturm Brightblade and Flint Fireforge and Tasselhoff Burfoot and Tanis Half-Elven and Riverwind and Goldmoon and Fizban and Lorana and Kitiara and Dalinar and all of the people, all the good, the bad, and all of them, the orcs and the goblins and the thieves and the wizards and the dragons and the Dragonlances, all of it combined. It's just great. It is magnificent stuff. So, you know, my Dragons of Winter Night review kind of was more of a review of everything, but that's fine. So was my Dragons of Autumn Twilight. By the time we get to the third book, we'll have covered everything about this series. So if you want to read, well, we'll just preview the next one right here with this great Larry Elmore print of Dragons of Spring Dawning.